Hey guys, this is Annie Noodle. You coming up? Oh yeah. This is Tiny's butt. She is here to help me show you this painting I finished this week. So yeah, let's go do some art, huh? Okay. Okay? Yeah, okay. Well, hey guys, this is voiceover Annie Noodle, and look at this. We finally have a video again. Sorry it took a little bit longer than I thought it was going to. Hopefully you'll watch this video and see why it took me so long to actually finish this. There was a lot more detail in it than I thought there was going to be when I first did the sketch, which now that I'm looking at the sketch, I'm like, that was probably very silly of me to think that, but it is what it is. So, um, I am sitting here with two of the three cats of the Three Cat Alarm Studio, and they are helping me do my voiceover by distracting me with kiddiness. It's very sweet and annoying, like everything cats do ever. So, as you can see, I am tracing this sketch onto my wooden panel. It's a 12-inch circular wooden panel from Trekell, whatever. Um, and I have already gessoed this with like an acrylic gesso, and that's because I was going to paint an acrylic painting on it, and then I decided to paint on it with gouache instead. Here you can see what it looks like after I've copied over, and you can see the up arrows to remind myself that I need to make sure that part goes up because there's like a little keyhole cutout to hang this panel on the wall. And past Annie may have forgotten to make sure that her panel was the right side up when she painted before. So let's not repeat mistakes. um, so I decided that I wanted to have the background be kind of like a wallpaper look. And I bought this fabric about 1,000,000 years ago that's like this blue and pink and gray stripe. And then it's got roses on it. And I was like, I want that to be like my background wallpaper pattern. And I talked myself out of the roses. I couldn't find the fabric, of course, because like, oh my goodness, someday I'm going to do this hobby video that I've been talking about where I show you all my hobbies. And you will see how much fabric I have and be slightly embarrassed for me. And that's fine. I'm slightly embarrassed for myself. Um, I couldn't find the fabric, and for all I know, I just like I used it, and then like the piece of clothing that I made out of it wore out, and then I got rid of it, and like all I have left of this fabric is a tiny scrap the size of the palm of my hand, and I kept it forever. It could be there somewhere, and if I ever find it, I'll show you because it's a very lovely fabric. Anyways, so there are no roses in the background, but I am really happy with how the background wallpaper look turned out. But as you can see, the gouache went on really streaky, and that is because this is acrylic gesso. Like I made an error using gesso on this, or using gouache on this, because I primed it for acrylic a long time ago. Like the just yeah, it just is what it is. I wasn't like, oh, I'm gonna prime this with acrylic gesso and then use gouache on it. No, no. I just had this primed already, and I was like, I'm gonna paint on here with gouache. I can do that, and I can, and it came out okay. But it was a bigger pain in the butt that it would have than it would have been if I had actually primed it with something that would have made more sense, or actually just not primed it at all. Like that would have been great. Um, I really like painting on natural wood with gouache. It's a very nice kind of mid-tone, kind of like painting on toned paper with gouache. So, yeah. So you will see me paint over the back a lot of times. You'll see me paint over all of this a lot of times, which I think is mostly because of the acrylic gesso priming. Because this is, what gouache am I using here? I think I'm using mostly my Holbein and a little bit of Daniel Smith. Because I think that is titanium buff that I used as the base coat for the face. And yeah, I know she looks terrifying right here. She does stop looking terrifying eventually, but with my gouache portraits, I feel like my ugly phase is just very pronounced. Especially because like I put down like a base coat on the face and then I leave like the eyes and the mouth empty until like almost the end. Yeah, I don't know. Oh, here you will see me starting to fill in the black of the hair using a ridiculous tiny brush once again, and then realizing my mistake and getting a larger brush. Some people would probably say this brush is still too small, but I have to paint around a lot of tiny rats, so it is what it is. That's the biggest one I wanted to use. I also want to talk about this horrible thing that happens when you're painting a portrait and you take a picture of it and you're like, oh, I should check to make sure all of the features are in the right places. And so you flip it using like, you know, the little flipping tool on your phone or like with an app or something. No. She looks terrible when you flip her. And I'm like, oh, now I see everything that's wrong with her. And I decided not to fix it and just to move on with my life. So if you ever decide to flip this, when I post the portrait in its finished form, yeah, just know that I know that it's a little bit wonky, and I decided to move on with my life. But I think I might be entering back into I want to paint a lot of people phase, so we'll see how that goes. I've been painting a lot of mushrooms, obviously, for the board game that I've been commissioned to work on. And then I've been painting drawing a lot of animals for the Smogus challenge that I set for myself. And now I'm like, I am ready to move on to other things. I mean, I still have to paint a lot of mushrooms still. There's still mushrooms in the future. So that brings me to the next topic that I want to talk about. I am going to do my Smogus recap video this upcoming week. And then I think I'm going to do like a mushroom painting video again, kind of like a longer one that's like more like, hey, here's my botanical mushroom painting one. That the last time I did that was like 2 hours long. So what do you guys think if I did that as my first live stream where I just did a botanical mushroom painting for a live stream? And yeah, you guys could hang out and chat with me. It would probably be about the same time as the live stream I did with Miranda. Was like early afternoonish Central Time, I think around 5 o'clock Central. So whatever time that is your time, that's probably when it would be. So not this upcoming week, but probably the week after. Yeah. Look at those little tiny rat feet. Aren't they so cute? I had so much fun painting little tiny rat feet. This painting was so much fun to do. And even though it took me way longer than I wanted it to originally, I had so much fun painting it, and I'm so glad I painted it, and I'm so glad I took my time, and I am so glad that, like, you guys are always so supportive of me, like, taking the time I need to, like, not go crazy and be able to live a life still and, like, post my YouTube videos when I have time to, instead of trying to rush to get things done. I really appreciate you guys so much. You are awesome, and you're the reason why I want to keep doing this. Yeah, it's really been fun making friends on YouTube. Yeah. For all the people who aren't on YouTube, you guys are missing out. I know they can't hear me because they're not here, but I'm just sending that out into the universe in case they, can get the vibe, and then they'll come visit us. So I have been watching Portrait Artist of the Year a lot, and I actually got through almost all of the seasons of that, and I've moved on to Landscape Artist of the Year. And of course, watching people paint portraits is really like making me want to paint portraits too. So, and then like now that I've moved on to Landscape Artist of the Year, I really want to go out and do more plein air painting before the end of the summer. So, and for me, that comes up really fast. I basically only have a month left, right? So I have September, which is basically, it's basically September now, right? We're just going to go with that. So I have September, and then I work for a Halloween company. So like my month of October, I am working 80-hour work weeks. Like I barely have time to function. So I will not be painting outside. And then after that it's November. And like, I mean, some years it's nice out and some years it's like, snowing. So I'm not going to go paint in that probably. But yeah, so I really want, oh my gosh, my battles with cat hair in this painting were just endless. Yeah, so I really want to get out at least a couple more times in September to do plein air painting. I really, 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 really want to. I'm so like behind on projects that I need to be working on. And I have to decide, I have to prioritize my life, right? Like, I mean, like there are non-art projects that I want to be working on too. Like I want to get my yard cleaned up and et cetera, et cetera. Like I like have house projects I still haven't finished. But this is just my art projects, right? So like I have 2 different books that I want to make that I haven't really started, and I promised myself I would start them this year, and I want to make real progress on them. Especially because I was talking about them last year in November when I was at the art festival, like it's called the GSR Art Festival that happens in the town that I live in. And like I talked to a lot of people about this book that I wanted to make last November when I was at that art festival. And like I was like, sign up for my newsletter and I'm going to talk about this project. And I have not talked about that project because I haven't been working on it, okay? Like, I need to have something. And like nobody's going to hold me to this but myself. Like I know this. Like, but I need to have something to like show myself that I am working on this, right? So, okay, so this painting I'm putting in her eyes right now, and I know it looks weird, right? Because the rest of her face isn't done, but like the quote unquote whites of people's eyes aren't really white, so you don't ever want to leave them white. Like, if I could ever give you portrait advice about eyes, is that you shouldn't leave the eyeballs white. Like, you should not leave the whites white. Just keep that in mind. I chose to make these brown, a little bit kind of pinky brown, because that's what I was making the rest of the face. And like you will see later on that they don't look weird, right? They just look weird now. It's just one of those things. Oh yeah. So painting these lines was super satisfying. Like really, it was so fun to paint. And I made a lot of mistakes and I wasn't really trying to make perfect lines, but wow, they were just it's so satisfying to paint with gouache like this. Like, oh yeah, just so nice. And I don't think I've gotten to it yet. No, I haven't. See, even like looking at it now, her eyes don't look weird to me. Yeah, but I understand. I feel like they look kind of bloodshot maybe, but I mean, to me, her lips bother me more than anything right now. Yeah. But look at that. Her lips are getting worked on now, so we're okay. Also, so I really thought that I did not like really soft brushes for gouache. And I think I might be starting to change my mind. Because really soft brushes let you blend more easily without picking up the layers below. Like, even on this panel that, like I said, is acrylic, like primed with acrylic gesso, so the gouache kind of slides off of it a little bit more easily than it slides off of other things, which you will see, like, as I'm painting, you'll be like, oh, you just accidentally wiped that back down to the board. And I'm like, yeah, I did. I'm actually a little bit nervous. I haven't varnished this yet. And I'm a little bit nervous about varnishing it. So yeah, we will see how that goes. I'm a little bit worried that I'm going to somehow ruin it by varnishing it, but it's got to happen. Like 3 times, I think, during this painting, I accidentally dropped water onto it. I mean, like just little drips of water, but like it's annoying and you have to go back and fix them after the fact. And yeah, I definitely need to varnish it. Otherwise it's going to get destroyed basically instantly. Because I mean, the nice thing about painting on a panel like this is that you don't have to put it in a frame. Like that's why I wanted to paint on this, is so that I could have some unframed stuff that I'm going to sell at the festival in November, which I'm hopefully going to go to. I should stop assuming that I have to apply to get into it. It's just that I applied last year and got in, so now I'm kind of assuming that I'll get in, which is probably bad for me to do, right? Yeah. I should never make assumptions. That's not a good thing to do. Okay, so where were we? We're painting cute little rat faces. Isn't this cute? Yeah. So I took all these rats from reference photos because I'm not well versed in rat anatomy and I wanted them to be at least a little bit accurate. Not like perfect, but like, good enough for me and my fantasy art that is, kind of whimsical in nature. So Ratty here actually only had 3 legs and was super cute and like in like the most adorable pose ever, and I kind of want to go back and like paint it again just like as he actually was, like in his own little portrait. And I didn't leave him as a 3-legged rat for this painting because I didn't want it to like be distracting, like, oh, that's odd, she forgot to put a 4th leg on that rat. Does that seem like a weird thing to do? Like, now I'm questioning myself. Was it bad for me to give him a 4th leg? It's the one that's like, he didn't have the one that's like, he's like holding it up. Like in the photo, that leg was just not there. He just had the 3 that are on it was on the ground in the photo. Anyways, so kind of want to just do another little portrait of him, especially because the person who posted his portrait on the free reference photos for artists group on Facebook, which is where I got these pictures from, is super nice, and like they always post the cutest pictures of the rats, and I have like a billion of them saved to my phone because I just want to paint them all. They're super cute. They're like, here's my little rats posed in a blanket, here's my little rats, and they're posed like in a cauldron, like they're just so cute. She does like photo shoots with them. Okay, so now the background, you'll see me going in again. And you're like, why are you doing that? You're clearly not painting that the same color as it was before. And I didn't. I was starting to get a very like flat look, which makes sense, but I didn't like it. So I definitely went in and used variations in tone on the wallpaper to make it look more painty. Are you gonna let me get work done, guys? Can I paint for a while? Meow meow. Can I get some painting done, sir? I mean, you're kind of in my way. Okay, so sorry about that. Had to do a cat intermission, because of the cat fans. Yeah, so now I am going in and putting another layer on the face, and this time there's a lot more color. If you don't know the color zones of the face, like the typical ones, it's usually kind of yellowish around the forehead, and then reddish around the eyes and nose and the ear, and the cheeks. I mean, like that kind of middle stripe of the face is kind of reddish. And then like bluish around like the below the lips and the chin and like down even onto the neck. So when you hear people talk about the color zones of the face, that's kind of what they're talking about, and that's just one of the things that you're thinking about when you're doing a portrait. And I mean, really, when you're doing a portrait, you should be looking at the person that you're doing a portrait of and like, referencing their actual face. But yeah. So in case you were wondering what those zones are, that's what they are. And now you can see that she is suddenly a lot more pink, and that is because she is, a little bit pale, but not like so pale that she doesn't have blood on her face. I kind of wanted her to look like a little bit of a modern Victorian woman posed in front of her fancy Victorian but modern wallpaper, and she's got a crazy rat nest in her hair of friendly, cute rats. Yeah. So I wanted her to be pale, but not super pale, like so that it looks like she's got like white makeup on. And yeah, So as you can see, like I went through all of the stripes of the wallpaper in the back, and I think there's cat hair on them right now. And I made them a lot more painterly looking. Oh, right. And then I started putting purple in the shadows, and that's because in the reference I was using there was purple in the shadows, and also because I think it looks more cohesive with the purple shadows I've been using with the rats and like the kind of pink in the wallpaper. I do walk it back a step from where it is right now, but yeah, she does have purple shadows. I like purple shadows too. So, like, just as a design element, I like them. I think it's fun. Yeah. Anyways, especially because they're such a cool, and cool I hear mean as an interesting, there's such an interesting range of colors you can get by mixing reds and blues. And it's like all the ways from like purple to like gray. So, yeah, it's really fun. It was super satisfying to paint her neck. Anytime you see me swooping big long strokes with a brush, I'm like, yay, this is the best thing ever. I just think it's so fun to paint really long lines. You guys let me know in the comments if you get really like excited when you watch people do lettering videos, because I love watching those so much. I love watching people, especially with a brush. I mean, it's nice with like a calligraphy pen too, but like when I'm watching somebody do lettering with a brush, I'm like, oh, that's so beautiful. And also kind of stressful. Because I'm like, oh man, just like if you breathe wrong, that's going to go badly. But I guess it's like if you're a professional and you've been doing it for years, it's probably less stressful for you, you know, just, like painting is less stressful for me than it would be for people who don't paint. Yeah, you know what I mean. So if you're wondering why I keep going over the edge of her cheek right there, there is a rim light, she's a little bit backlit. So that I want to make sure that I get that little tiny sliver of light on her cheek so that it gives her cheek more depth. So yeah, that's why you keep seeing me go over that and over that and over that again. This is filmed in a vertical format because I filmed it for a reel for my Instagram account, and I just wanted to be like, hey, look at me, I'm doing the little dark details on the lips. So, two things about that. One is that, like, I was really getting excited about my Instagram account because it was reaching a lot more people, and then, like, in the last week, my reels get to, like, 10 people again, and I'm like, it's not even, like, I'm posting every day. And it's not that people are seeing it and not engaging. It's that people aren't seeing it. So I'm like, I see why people get really frustrated with Instagram. So, I'm like, I don't know if I want to keep putting effort into that on a daily basis and get nothing out of it. Although I have like started to talk to people more on Instagram. So maybe we'll see. I'm not fully into like the give up mode. Oh my gosh, do you see me painting those little tiny nostrils? Seriously, these rats are so small. Like, look at that thing compared to my hand. Like, it is tiny. I don't know why I keep painting tiny things. I need to stop doing that because it takes forever. And that was thing one. And the other thing about making those lips really dark in that corner is that's one of the darkest places on her face. And I am really, really trying to get better at bumping up the contrast in my paintings because I chicken out about bumping up contrast a lot and it makes my paintings look weak and I can do better. So I'm trying to do better. Also painting all the wrinkles in her dress was super, super fun. It was very fun. Oh, this woman is from a reference pack that I got from Howard Lyon, who is also a really awesome artist, and he does a lot of his own reference photo shoots, and then he sells like the photo shoots. You can get access to them. So, yeah. So he's an artist, and he also takes reference photos. And so if you are an artist looking for good human reference photos, he's got a lot of them. He's got a Gumroad account. If I remember, I will link it. And I'm saying if I remember because I know that I say I will link things and I forget. So yeah, and it's 7 o'clock at night, and I kind of want to get done with this voiceover and go eat ice cream. So that might happen instead of me being responsible and remembering to do my linking stuff that I'm supposed to do. All right, so we're painting hair, and I looked forward to this step for the entire painting. Yeah, like putting in all of these little swooshes for the hair. I looked forward to it for the whole thing. And it did not disappoint. It was so much fun. Yeah. And I started out with very, very black, just absolutely black lines. Knowing that I was going to go back through everything with variations of gray. Especially, oh yeah, look at this. Wee. Yeah, I might have played with like the little paint swirls in my water cup for a while, and I just wanted to share. So yeah, I went back in and put in grays to not to make her look older, but to just make the hair look more painterly, like the background looks more painterly, and to cover up all of the weird paint swoops going in the wrong direction from when I just painted a base coat down when I first started. Yeah. Anyways, so I loved doing this. I love doing all the little flyaways in the hair. They were so fun. I loved painting all the little flyaways that the rats were nesting in. Yeah. Let me know what you think of this picture. Is it weird or is it cute? Because sometimes my thinking of things is like, oh my gosh, this is the cutest thing ever. And somebody else comes along and they're like, this is a little weird. She's got rats in her hair. So this is the finished image. I might put in whiskers later, but you guys, please let me know what you think. I'm so happy with her. I'm so happy with her. Okay. Yeah, I will see you hopefully again this Friday, and have a really, really great week. Thank you so much, guys. Bye-bye.